President Trump and Senator Ron Johnson say some crazy stuff, and now the media is trying to spin it. RFK Jr. reveals autism is more than just suffering kids. It will soon cost the U.S. government $1 trillion a year. A new hoax leaks that President Trump wants to fire Pete Hegseth of the military, and an old hoax gets revisited. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin says the American people have been lied to for over 25 years. I hope everyone had a great Easter and a relaxing weekend. It looks like President Trump enjoyed himself and made sure to leave a fiery Easter message for the radical left. Let me bring it up here on the stage. Happy Easter to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting and scheming so hard to bring murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, the mentally insane and well-known MS-13 gang members and wife beaters back into our country. Happy Easter also to the weak and ineffective judges and law enforcement officials who are allowing this sinister attack on our nation to continue, an attack so violent that it will never be forgotten. Sleepy Joe Biden purposely allowed millions of criminals to enter our country, totally unvetted and unchecked, through an open border policy that will go down in history as the single most calamitous act ever perpetuated upon America. He was by far our worst and most incompetent president, a man who has absolutely no idea what he was doing. But to him and to the person that ran and manipulated the auto pen, the real president, and to all the people who cheated in the 2020 presidential election in order to get this highly destructive moron elected, I wish you, with great love, sincerity, and affection, a very happy Easter. Wow, President Trump has a way with words. He really should have been an author instead of a billionaire real estate mogul. All right, now, this shocked me, but it shouldn't have. But ABC News is now basically working on behalf of the illegal immigrants that came into the country. What is going on here? I'm going to put up ABC News and Tom Homan. ABC News has been spending dozens of hours a week defending illegals, murderers, and rapers, saying that these people who are not American citizens deserve due process. Meanwhile, spending zero time talking about the actual victims of these criminals that they defend. Listen to what Tom Homan had to say.
Senator Van Hollen has obviously got a chance to meet with him, but he had to travel to El Salvador to get any information. Does that concern you at all? I mean, these are people sent by the United, I mean, in his case, sent by the United States, and not even a U.S. senator could get any information about his whereabouts or the condition of his incarceration without actually going down and making the trip to El Salvador himself?
Well, he obviously knew his whereabouts because he went there to see him. But you know what bothers me more than that is a U.S. senator traveled to El Salvador on taxpayer dime to meet with an MS-13 gang member, public safety threat terrorist. I mean, in the meantime, the day before he traveled, an illegal alien was arrested for murder, released to the streets rather than honoring an ICE detainer in his very own state. What concerns me is Van Hollen never went to the border the last 4 years on Joe Biden when he had a 600% increase in sex trafficking in women and children. You have a record number of no-inspected terrorists crossing that border. You had 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl overdose because of the open border. You got over 4,000 illegal aliens died making that journey, which is a historic record. What shocks me is he's remained silent on the travesty that happened on our southern border. Many people died. Thousands of people died. I've met with hundreds of angel moms and dads who buried their children that were murdered by illegal alien. How many angel moms and dads has he met in the state of Maryland?
All right. Isn't that bothersome? This guy's like, this senator had to fly all the way to El Salvador in order to find this guy. No, he didn't. He knew exactly where he was. That's how he knew where to go. Like, ABC News just lies. And then over and over again, they say, Trump is bypassing the courts. Trump is breaking the law. Trump doesn't want these illegals in here. Trump isn't giving these criminals due process. Dude, How many people have to die from these horrible illegal immigrants, these gang members, these drug traffickers, these human traffickers, before ABC News will wake up and go, wait a minute, we're on the wrong side of this story? It's absolutely crazy. By the way, thank you guys so much for always giving these videos a like and sharing them with family and friends. I do almost as well as ABC News and CNN because of my great community base. So thank you guys so much. All right, now about a month ago, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth came under fire after reports surfaced that he discussed military operations in Yemen with the Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg via a Signal group chat. Now, according to The Hill, Hegseth is also said to have shared those plans in a separate Signal chat that included his wife, brother, and personal attorney. While the Pentagon maintains no classified information was disclosed, critics argued the situation may have put U.S. personnel at risk. The Defense Department Inspector General is currently reviewing Hegseth's use of the Signal app. It looks like John Yulyat, former top Pentagon spokesperson and acting assistant to Hegseth, isn't too impressed with the recent turn of events. He's claiming Hegseth won't remain in the role for too long. Yulyat stated, "It's been months of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firing. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from senior leadership. President Donald Trump has a strong record of holding top officials to account. Given that, it's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in this role for much longer." Now, they're also saying that President Trump secretly wants to fire Pete Hegseth. I don't know that that's true, but let's go ahead and watch what President Trump had to say on this directly.
They're doing that whole thing again. Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job. Thanks, sir. Ask the Houthis how he's doing. Ask the Houthis how much dysfunction they have. His son, Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
President Trump says the exact opposite of what the mainstream media is claiming. He says, I'm not looking to fire him. In fact, I think he's doing a great job. Recruitment numbers are up. Look at what he's done to the Houthis. They're not complaining that there's dysfunction. They're complaining that they just had the hell bombed out of them. So he says, I think he's doing a great job. You guys are taking a story and turning it into a mountain, a molehill into a mountain. So President Trump is unimpressed once again with the mainstream media, but I guess that really shouldn't shock any of us that have been paying attention. Now, I do think the situation was unfortunate, but it does look like, as of right now, there was no top secret information, no personnel was disclosed, and as President Trump said, the Houthis didn't find out about it. All right, now, Trump seems to believe that it's time for a shakeup in the FDA. So, under new commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, pharmaceutical company representatives from its 32 advisory committees, those advising on vaccine, food, medical devices, and more, in an effort to reduce industry influence, are being removed. Dr. Markey explained industry employees are welcome to attend FDA advisory committee meeting along with the rest of the American public, but having industry employees serve as official members of FDA advisory represents a cozy relationship that is concerning to many Americans. In fact, the FDA has a history of being influenced unduly by corporate interest. Public trust in the healthcare industry complex is at an all-time low. We need to restore impeccable integrity to the process and avoid conflict of interest. Boy, wow, yes, thank you. Why should Big Pharma be telling us what to do? They should just be making safe drugs, right? I mean, so each committee had non-voting industry representatives from Pfizer, Dynavax, and others telling the government how to run things, telling the government whether they were safe, telling the government whether their medicine was effective. This is no more. They're getting rid of them. I mean, it's no wonder that we lost trust in medicine. You guys lied to us, manipulated us, turned us on each other, used fear to get people to take an experimental drug that now 50% of Americans believe injured or killed someone they know and love. So yeah, you guys have lost our trust. Now, in his push to restore America's trust in medicine, RFK Jr. has uncovered alarming new details about the sharp increase in autism. RFK stated, "This is an epidemic. It dwarfs the COVID epidemic and the impacts on our country because COVID killed old people. Autism affects children and affects them at the beginning of their lives, the beginning of their productivity. And it's absolutely debilitating for them, their families, and their communities. For our country, just the pure economic cost of autism will be $1 trillion by 2035. That's just the beginning because many of these kids are aging out and their parents worry every day. That means that these parents have no idea who's going to take care of their debilitated child. And I'm talking about people with severe autism, what's called profound autism, which is about 26% of the total people who are diagnosed with autism. Those families, those children are nonverbal, non-toilet trained. They have all the stereotypical features of autism: head banging, toe walking, stimming, agonizing gut pain, and head banging. Those kids are kids that will not hold jobs. And many kids with autism, many of the higher functioning autism actually can. They have tremendous potential to live independently and get jobs and take care of themselves. Isn't that crazy? $1 trillion to take care of a problem that haunts parents, that haunts siblings that have brothers and sisters with autism. But what do the Democrats want to do? They're just taking money under the table from big pharma, from big food, from big chemical, and now they're threatening to sue RFK Jr. All right, now, I want to talk to you guys about gut health because the American diet has absolutely wrecked our guts. And our gut is key to a strong immune system, serotonin creation, digestion, and more. A battle between good and bad bacteria can determine your health. And I want you guys to be happy and healthy. Now, Kimchi 1 by Brightcore is a fermented superfood. It helps you guys build the good bacteria in your gut so that you guys can be happy and healthy. Now, I can tell you from personal experience about how kimchi helped rebuild my gut and my daughter's gut. It contains 900 beneficial bacteria inside each capsule. Kimchi 1 supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi has also been shown to reduce the risk of obesity, promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite, and naturally boosting metabolism. It's great. I love it. Now, you can get 25% off by snapping the QR code or following the link down below and using code Gardner. But you shouldn't want to save 25%. You should want to save 50% and get free shipping. In order to do that, just give them a call. One of their health experts at 888-908-4425 can answer your questions about Kimchi 1 and their other amazing products. They can also help you save up to 50% plus free shipping. Go ahead and do that right now. All right, now, we've been lied to a lot about COVID, Dr. Fauci, Joe Biden, and much, much more. However, I'm noticing a trend, and this is something that I believe, but you've got multiple members of Congress, you've got Tucker Carlson, You've got former members of Congress, engineers, firemen, fire chiefs coming forward saying the American government has been lying to people about 9/11, and it's time to get to the truth. I want to roll for you guys a clip from Senator Ron Johnson and Benny Johnson, which happened earlier today. Get a load of this.
What would you like to know about September 11th, the official story there, Senator?
Well, let's start with Building 7. Again, I don't know that you can find structural engineers other than the ones that have the corrupt investigation inside NIST that would say that that thing didn't come down in any other way than a controlled demolition. I mean, you just look at that. You talk about molten steel. Again, you listen to the documentary Bravo 7. There's an awful lot of questions. You know, who ordered the removal and then destruction of all that evidence? Totally contrary to any other firefighting investigation procedures. I mean, who ordered that? Who was in charge? I think there's some basic information. Where's all the documentation from the NIST investigation? No, there are a host of questions that I want, and I will be asking, quite honestly, now that my eyes have been opened up. I've talked to former Congressman Kurt Weldon now. I will work with him to expose what he's willing to expose as well. Wow.
So we may actually see hearings about this.
I think so. And by the way, this was opened up when my ranking member now, when he was chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee Investigation, he did the investigation on the PGA and Live Golf and the PIF. Part of that is we had 9/11 families coming forward and saying, we want the FBI files unredacted. We want those made available in terms of what happened. What did the FBI know what happened? So we got engaged with that on a bipartisan basis. We want to get those answers, those documents for the families. Again, we didn't get squat from the FBI. So hopefully now with this administration, I think President Trump should have some interest being a New Yorker himself. What actually happened on 9/11? What do we know? What is being covered up? My guess is there's an awful lot being covered up in terms of what the American government knows about 9/11.
You guys, I've been talking to people off the record, former colonels, people that were part of the investigation before and after 9/11. They're telling me there are hundreds of members of Congress that want an investigation, that believe that we've been lied to, but none of them are willing to come forward because they're terrified of the deep state. Now, please let me know in the comments, do you want me to bring on some of these guests? They have told me they're willing to come on. I just want to get an idea of the appetite for this information. Why did Building 7 come down? There's just so many conflicting reports. Evidence was covered up. What did the Bush administration know? What did the deep state know? What did the firemen know? I want to know all of it, but I want to hear from you guys to make sure that it's something that you guys want to learn more about. I don't want to waste time on news stories that you don't care about. All right, let me know. Maybe type truth. That way I can just do a search and look up truth. So if you guys want the truth on 9/11, type truth for me, please. All right, now in a surprising interview, comedian Bill Maher, who just went to the White House and had a very lovely dinner with President Donald Trump, he came back, he said, wow, this guy is not who I thought. Where is this guy on camera? He is generous, he is kind, he's a good listener. And now he's had Charlie Kirk, who I've had on my show twice. He had him on for a discussion about how the left has gone bonkers and how they'll never win elections again. Now, I don't know that I fully believe that. That means that Republicans have to be on their guard. They have to keep putting up good policy. They have to keep the mainstream media in check. Can't let Operation Mockingbird get the best of us. We've got to continue to push independent journalism like I'm doing. But let me go ahead and share this with you guys, and then we'll go ahead and react to it together.
We're on different planets, obviously, on the spiritual religious stuff. But when you spoke against the woke, that for me was a proving moment. And I have to say something, and this is 100% true. You had more moral courage than pastors that I know that went along with the woke crazy train. And you deserve credit for that because it was of high cost.
Until we get rid of that shit, they're never going to win another election.
I agree. They're not going to take political advice from me.
No, but they might from me.
They could.
Not
and they should. But,
not the 10%, but that's 10%.
But they're very loud.
They're very loud, but that's it. And I, as FDR once said, I welcome their hatred, because they're just that. First of all, they have no integrity. They don't ever present the full argument. They just cherry pick. I mean, everybody does it to everybody. So I'm not saying I'm unique here, but that is part of the problem of our discourse, is that everybody just wants to forward their narrative. No one is really interested in the full truth. Just the truth. Just give me the truth. And that's the crowd I'm going for.
All right. Well, that's the crowd I'm going for too. I want to be known as a truth teller, as somebody that makes complex issues simple. But let me know what you guys think. First of all, bravo for Charlie Kirk going on. I don't know that I would have the courage to go up against Bill Maher. He's smart. He's very, very bold. But Charlie Kirk held his own. It was a really great interview. But I think that Bill Maher is right. You're never going to convince the most lefty lefts of the left, the 10% that are the loudest, that Trump is good, that America is good, that we're not completely filled with systemic racism. You're never going to convince people of this. But I believe it's worth trying. The truth can win over a lot of people. But what do you guys think? Bill Maher, I don't think he's going to run for office, but he's going to try to bring forward a better Democrat government. But I don't think it's going to work. But again, I don't think Republicans can sit back on their laurels and just believe that things are going to get better. All right. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.